Oh my life, I'm back. It's time for the weekly update. So last week brought some really special moments, including a visit from Carla and her husband, who travelled over to the UK from Costa Rica. And it was really a real international week because we also had Alina and her family from Brazil. And I have to say, I just love seeing the joy on people's face when they arrive here at the farm, especially when they've been planning it for a long time. And knowing that Friesian smile stays with them long after they've left here is absolutely priceless. Carla even said that meeting all the boys and girls was something that she would never forget, describing it as an experience that would stay with her forever. And that makes me happy. You know, we're so grateful for all the support that we get of so many of you, both in person and online, from all around the world. And it's why we keep doing what we do. Anyway, on Tuesday, we finally got to the bottom of what was bothering Renska here. As suspected, it was arthritis, which, you know, isn't surprising given her age, but it's always hard to see that. So we're obviously focusing on keeping her as comfortable as possible, and we will do, you know, as the years go by. And again, it's only thanks to all the support that you give us that we're able to do that. Hidde also had that other bit of his sarcoid removed, and that's looking fine at the moment. So between the two of them and some of the other ongoing treatments, it's turned into a pretty hefty vet's bill month. That's why Joy Duxbury's fundraising swim couldn't have come at a better time. She raised an incredible £1,700, which is going to go directly towards covering this month's vet's bill. I haven't actually seen the final figure yet. It always comes through on the last day of the month, but by the time I'm editing this, I'll pop the total up on the screen with a little breakdown, just so that you can see exactly where the funds are going, because I think that's always quite interesting for a lot of you. So then Wednesday was another full-on day, and it's of course our live day. So Frey and I started with our usual morning breakfast feed time, and then Nero had his third PEMF session with Mel that a lot of you enjoyed watching live. These sessions are really starting to help him relax and find a little bit of relief, which is so nice to see. Then Thursday was another big live day. We had the two big birthdays, Oebe, who turned 21, and Nero, who turned 7. So we shared a little bit of their life stories during the live stream and finished the day with a walk down the road just to mark the occasion. It was really nice that the rain stopped for us so that we could do that. Friday and Saturday saw more stable stays guests with Hidde, including, as I say, a very special visitor from Brazil, who had been planning it for such a long time, and there were actually tears as she arrived, but I'm pleased to say that they were tears of joy. So she's again left with some wonderful memories, and even got to experience the most stunning sunrise on Sunday morning, which some of you will have seen on the channel, because I woke up, I think it was 4:30 in the morning, and it was just beautiful. So I had to go for a little walk around the farm and obviously get a little bit of film as I went. As for this week, today is a classic busy Monday. We've got tree surgery going on with David and Edward. Craig and Ryan from Vulcan Electrics are here to assess the whole energy demands on the farm. It looks like we're going to need to upgrade our supply to keep in line with everything. I'm not quite ready to think about the costs of that yet. We'll just cross that bridge when we come to it. And I have no doubt that Tamara will update us once that meeting's done. We've got Michael back, continuing with the build on the shippen, and this afternoon we're welcoming a young lady for a yard experience, who's then going to be heading into stable stays with her mum for the evening. Tomorrow, Tuesday, we're back at Mel's again, so Nero's having his 4th PEMF session, and on Wednesday we're likely to bring you more lives, starting with the breakfast one, of course. Thursday's going to be a little bit different because we're welcoming a young lady here who applied for the position that we advertised a while ago here at the sanctuary for a new team member. So we're hoping that it's going to be a really good match all round, so fingers crossed on that, and obviously we'll share more as time goes on. So Over the weekend, I'm going to be collecting my sister and our lovely niece Megan, who are flying in from Colorado for Mum's funeral. My brother Chris and his husband Lawrence will also be arriving on Sunday, and Tia, who you might have seen was up here for the Ollie Murs concert last week, will also be travelling back up from the south of England once again, along with more friends and family as we prepare to say our final goodbyes to Mum next week. Finally, for those of you who bought tickets for the Bear Quilt raffle, we have extended the draw date because originally it was due to be happening on the 9th of July, which is now the date of the funeral. So we've extended it for a month to the 9th of August. So that gives everybody a little bit more time, allows us to focus on family this coming week. It's such a beautiful quilt, and it's lovely. You know, it's all done by Diane, our quilting queen, in memory of our much missed teddy bear who we lost last year. So thank you so much, as always, for watching everything that we share, for caring about what we do, and for being part of what we're building here together. This isn't a very good start to the weekend. Not quite sure what's happened here, but our entire archway has come down, and it's not like there were even horses in there last night to lean on it. So I have no idea how or why this has happened, but this is definitely going to be a job for Neil. Well, that's a bit neater for now. And, you know, we always have to look at the positives. And that sign was very old. So it gives us a good chance to redesign the front entrance. Well, it was all nice and peaceful a minute ago, but it wouldn't be a usual Monday if there wasn't something going on. So we've got Niki Noodles and Renska in the round pen there. Over in the Friendship Barn, we actually have Craig and Ryan from Vulcan back, along with somebody who's actually having a look at the electrics for the whole farm to see what we need to do to upgrade, because it's all getting a little bit overloaded. We've also got Hazel in today, and in between picking all of the foxgloves that she's so good at getting rid of, She's bought little Skinny in up, and she can be taking her for a walk later. I'm at the back of that bit of wall that's fallen down, just inside the Hoitzer and Jubba's garden this morning, just taking a look at what needs to be done. And Tamara's on the case. She's been in touch with Neil, so hopefully he will be back here in the next few weeks to get that all repaired. But it's one of the things, you know, on the farm, there's always going to be things that are getting damaged. There's always maintenance. There's always jobs to be done. And it's always a case of prioritising what we need to do first. Now, as you know, the plan is to get some more tracks put up through the top of their garden and up into the top field. And we've got all the stone that all arrived last week, and hopefully the tracks will be done soon. But of course, as is always the case, nothing is quite as easy and as straightforward as we would like to think. And on bringing David through here, and Tony and Tamara, they've all looked at this tree up here, which is rather dead and potentially quite dangerous. And if we go to the trouble of putting a track in here and some fencing, there is the risk that this tree could fall down. It's all ifs, buts and maybes, and it's stood here for a very long time. But we've had to make the decision that we need to get a tree surgeon in so that we don't run the risk of it falling down, injuring any of the horses, falling on the road, damaging the fencing. So unfortunately, we've got to get that done before the track can go in. But also on this route that we want to put the track across to this top gateway, this tree also had an awful lot of dead branches on it. So David and Edward have very kindly come in to tidy it up. So the tree itself is still alive, but there are a lot of dead parts. So they're taking that all down today, and hopefully we'll get the tree surgeon in as soon as we can. Tamara's just dragged me down to give me all the exciting news about the electric. There's nothing exciting about it. So
there's nothing exciting about it, but so we've had a large electrical company come and have a look with our usual electricians at Vulcan, and the
Hoyt's bored already.
Yeah, I know, it's really boring, Hoyt's, unfortunately. But the good thing is this is going to hopefully sort out the electrics for the whole of the farm and future-proof it. So James from Bainbridge Electricals has come up to have a look, and he's talking about Northwest Electricity having to move this power cable.
That's this one that runs in the Hoitzer and Jubba's garden
and the cottage and the house, and put a big box back in that field to house the electrics and upgrade the house. The electric cable is supposed to be 100 whatever. I've written it all down.
Okay.
And it doesn't look like it is.
Yeah.
But for doing anything else around the farm, whether it's barns or electricity, lighting, anything,
anywhere we need more power.
It's all going to need upgrading because it's so old. And
so what's the next step?
So the next step is to get an EICR done, which ours is out of date. So
and what's an EICR?
Electrical Installation Condition Report.
Oh, okay.
There you go. And that checks all the meters that we've got, because we've got lots of meters, and checks all the connections and basically says that we're complying to current standards.
Right, okay.
So we'll have a bit of updating to do.
So
I'm sorry.
You were saying a minute ago that we might have to remove this electric post from in here.
That's it, yes.
And have the box up there, but there is a small possibility that actually the feed that's coming into the farm and going into the house might not be good enough.
The feed is actually coming into the cottage, because that's the 3-phase in there.
Okay.
So then the feed that comes from that going into the house might not be big enough.
So that would be best case scenario if it's just an upgrade of the wire that goes through there.
Whatever happens, by this pole being moved, we'll have to dig up through that field, through Hoyt's and Jubba's garden to get over to the house.
That makes me really sad.
It makes me very sad.
That makes
and very
me
stressed.
really sad, because then you think, well, we had the opportunity to do this, but hindsight is such a wonderful
it's
thing,
such
isn't
a wonderful thing, and we didn't know at the stage of doing this that the electrics were at maximum capacity.
No.
A positive is that the 3 meters in the house could be combined down to 1, so it'd only be 1 standing charge.
But of course, again, you know, with the trackways going in up the top here, other than the trees, which are something that we've had to deal with before putting the track in, you know, this might be something else. Well, no,
Yes,
it's
it
not
will.
going to affect the track that we put in for now, because we'll just make sure that whatever box goes up there
will come this side of the
will
track.
go this side and can be fenced off so that the horses don't. Hoyt's is not impressed with your news, Tamara.
Hoyt's, I'm not impressed either,
You know,
darling. I'm
yeah.
not impressed either.
Okay, thanks for the update.
Pleasure.
Can you go away now and not give me any more bad news today? Don't need it today. Thanks.
Okay.
What was the other little nugget that you just offered me there?
I suddenly remembered that Freya and I have been researching LPG costs because we have a bulk tank, and we could be getting it 10 pence a litre cheaper if we went with a different company, and I normally do this once a year. Could get it 10 pence cheaper than what we're getting it, but because the gas tank is too close to the rock and the cottage, it's not to current standards, so this new company won't take us on. So also I know that it needs to be made a bit bigger for supplying the shipping, so potentially we're going to have to get a bigger tank, obviously, but it'll have to be located somewhere that's far enough away from buildings and rock. In an ideal world, it would be buried in the ground.
Bury it in a bit of rock.
Bury
Yeah,
it
because
in a bit
that's
of
so easy round here to bury things in rock, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
And so these are all big infrastructure issues that I don't think about until I really have to. But
You see,
just reminded me.
it's no surprise that you don't sleep at night, is it? Yeah. Thank goodness you worry about these things. I'm just going to worry about Hoytsy Poitsy, who's got a few issues with his skin at the moment, so I'm going to go and sort those out, because they're sorts of things that I can do.
Michael pointed out to me this morning that the reason that side of the building has dropped and there's a great big crack is actually just because there's not a lintel holding those front stones up on that entrance into that barn.
So is he going to do that in his spare time?
So that actually makes me happy that it's not ground subsidence. So rectifying that is not a massive problem.
Okay.
What Michael is going to do that isn't to do with the shipping is the threshold into the house, because every time it rains now, water seeps in between the 2 stone steps into the house, so not through the doorway, but because the wood is rotten in the threshold, it's going down there.
Well, it's another case of where the water just finds its way to
in.
travel through the rock, you know, and it happens all round the farm.
Yeah.
So this video is becoming a Tamara's Tales, isn't it? Yes, finally, finally. Speak of the devil, there's Michael, half naked. With his little lunch pack. Sorry, Michael, I couldn't resist.
Just going to warm up my nice little sausage roll.
Oh my goodness.
It looks a bit boring today, that's all I've got.
Look, you've got custard cream.
Oh, damson plum yogurt.
Yeah, Tamara's going to pinch that now.
I was just explaining to everybody that you're going to be doing the threshold into the house because of the water's going down.
Yeah.
So as well as the water table rising up, it's
I
coming
think it's
in.
hitting the door and going down there,
Yeah.
Probably lift those 2 flags up and rebed them properly.
Okay. Yeah.
Can we clone you? We need another Michael.
I said that
Yeah.
this morning to you, didn't I?
Yeah, we don't want his head growing too big.
I have a twin. I thought he was on TV.
Hey?
Oh yes, you have.
Oh yeah, you did.
Ben Fogel.
Yeah.
That's it, yeah.
And just to confirm, you say that it's just a lintel in that above that doorway
Well,
that is going to save it from falling down.
Hopefully, yeah. But I mean,
Hopefully.
It's moved.
Yeah, and that's what's
Which
caused
is-
the big
yeah,
crack.
Yeah. Well, you can see those stones when you go there, just tipped like that.
Yeah.
So 2 or 3 inches there, everything comes down and down and down. You know, it's bad maintenance.
Okay, right, can you really now stop talking to me about stuff like this?
Yeah, but it'll suddenly start spewing out again.
I know. Right, I'm going now with Hoitzer.
Okay.
Go on, Hoitzy. That's looking a lot tidier and a lot safer. David is disappointed that he wasn't able to get the other tree down, but I think it's important to get a tree surgeon in because that's going to involve climbing up and taking it down in sections. So it's not worth taking the risk of anybody getting injured if they don't have the right equipment for the job. This is what happens when the clegs come out and you don't get a rug on quick enough. Poor Nero was getting quite stressed. As you can see, he's covered in these horrible clegs and he's been running around and getting rather hot and sweaty. So we'll have a cold shower now. Look, they don't even drown. They're horrible little things.
Not my best luck.
Are you having fun, Hazel?
I'm having wonderful fun. I defy a foxglove to live.
Yeah. I think that's what about your 4th or 5th wheelbarrow full of foxgloves.
I think, yes.
And as beautiful as they are, we don't like them in the fields.
No,
And you've done an amazing job getting rid of so many of them.
I'm going back for more.
Are you?
There are more.
Good luck.
Yes.
Now, fortunately, Tamara knows Andy, tree surgeon, so because this other tree is a little bit more complicated, we needed to get a tree surgeon in to bring it down. So Andy has very kindly come over this afternoon to take a look at it. So,
Dump it up
Yeah,
the
you can
top
have
like you
you
did.
can have the wood chip from it. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's-
so
that's
what we,
good.
so what we thinking about this tree? Should it go?
Yeah, definitely. Yes.
Yeah. Does it not look very well?
No, it's obviously all the top's dead and so big cavity in the middle of it. So I'd say it definitely needs to come down.
Okay.
So if the middle is hollow, do we still want to keep that trunk, Tracey?
Yeah, because I think we
I
want
wouldn't
to.
have said it would. Once it's at the point that it's down to that fork, it would never fall over anyway. It would be a problem.
No.
So I think even if it was hollow, it's not going to
quite
be.
nice.
It's not going to be completely rotten to the point that it would be a risk. Or even with things rubbing against it, I think it would be fine.
So it'll be fine for 600-kilogram horses, like
I reckon I would have said so. Yeah.
having a good scratch against it if we put some
Yeah.
brushes on
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Well, that's perfect. That's better than actually concreting a post in so that they can rub against that.
It is. And but yeah, let's hope they don't rub against.
And I believe that you're not too busy at the moment, so you might be able to do this for us quite quickly.
Well, summer is normally slower, but I am going on holiday in a couple of weeks, so. But I will be able.
tomorrow would work?
No, I can't do it tomorrow, but I'll be able to fit you in as soon as I can. So I'll have a look at the diary
Yeah.
and then I'll get back to you with a date.
Okay. Sorry, just to go back. So all the branches would just be chipped, and then
Yeah, we chip all the branches and we
chip
cut
and go
all.
up there.
We can have the wood chip and then we'll cut all the logs into firewood for you.
And we can
Well, just like
recycle the wood
rings,
chip.
rings, so
Split them
we can then
yourselves.
split them.
Yeah.
Okay. So you could do that. What's today? Monday. So not Tuesday.
Oh, don't be mean. No, I'm not going to
I could
hold
do-
you to that on
No,
camera.
I'll
That's
have
mean.
to have I'll have a
you'll
look.
let-
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'll let
Okay.
me- Yes.
But I'll be able to do it before the end of July, I thought. So.
Now, before I go on today's video, I just realised I completely forgot to mention one of the most exciting things that happened last week. And some of you may have picked up on it already in one of the live videos. Our application has now officially gone to the Lake District National Park Authority for the Girls' Winter Turnout area. Now, those of you with eagle eyes might have spotted a small change in one of the images at the end of the video, the one showing where we're up to on the campaign target. And that's a little hint of what's to come. Now, I don't want to tuck all the details away in one of the daily vlogs, because this is something really important that deserves its own video, really. So as soon as I can, I am going to share a full update explaining why we've had to go bigger with our plans, and the amazing benefits that it's going to give, not just through the winter but all year round. So sorry not to share more today, but if you take a peek at the picture at the end of the credits, it'll give you a little bit of a clue of what we're aiming for.
Wake up in the morning with a smile on my face, feeling thankful for the love and the happiness we chase. Sun is shining brightly, sky so blue and clear. With every breath I take, I'm grateful you are near. So grateful, yeah. Thank you for the laughter, thank you for the tears, thank you for the moments that we hold dear. Thank you for the love, thank you for the light. I'm grateful every day. You make my world so bright, oh so bright. The world can be a crazy place, with valleys and with peaks, but you bring joy into my life. Turn frowns into cheeks through all the ups.